All right, so we have some interesting reporting from The Intercept here on Mitch McConnell potentially preparing to not serve out the rest of his term as the senator from Kentucky. He just won re-election against Amy McGrath in November, so he has a full term left to serve. And the steps that he has been taking with this good reporting from The Intercept kind of expose that he might be planning on not finishing out this term. This would obviously have massive implications. Mitch McConnell has been a figurehead of the Republican Party. He's been one of the most influential sort of behind the scenes manipulators in increasing Republican powers in state legislatures across the country, in the Senate, and getting the Republican agenda forward. So this would have massive ramifications. I mean, he's also a 79-year-old man. We've seen him suffering some sort of health conditions with that. If you remember the pictures of his like decrepit hands that were like falling apart. But we don't know if that has anything to do specifically with this, but again, he is a 79-year-old man, so he's, kind of getting to the end there, and this is something that he's doing to prepare for that eventuality if it actually came to place. So Mitch McConnell, working with the Kentucky legislature on Senate exit strategy. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell has compiled a short list of successors in his home state of Kentucky, preparing for the possibility that he does not serve out his full term, Kentucky Republicans tell The Intercept. So he compiled a list of who he wants to replace him. This is pretty much just a list of like his buddies that he wants to replace him. Under the current rules, how it would work would be the governor, who is actually a Democrat. The governor of Kentucky is a Democrat. Under the current rules, would have the ability to nominate his replacement, which would be temporary, and serve out the rest of his term until the voters then decided on who would fill that position for the next cycle. But Republicans obviously don't want a Democrat to fill this seat, and so this is kind of the strategy that Mitch McConnell is using to forcefully grab that power from the governor and allow himself to basically pick whoever he wants. And this is the list that he compiled. So topped by his protege, the state attorney general Daniel Cameron, includes a former United Nations ambassador Kelly Craft, whose billionaire coal magnate husband is a major McConnell donor, as well as Kentucky Secretary of State Michael Adams, a former McConnell scholar. So like I was saying, under the current law, the power to appoint McConnell's replacement falls to the Democratic governor, Andy Beshear, but new legislation McConnell is pushing in the Kentucky General Assembly would strip the governor of that power and put it in the hands of the state GOP. So McConnell's scramble to secure his legacy has comes as his position in the party he effectively built from the ground up is increasingly shaky. Obviously, he's had these spats back and forth with Donald Trump, like I was saying, where he didn't vote for him to be impeached in the insurrection, even though he said that he was responsible for it. They've been kind of going back and forth. Donald Trump, in his speech at CPAC just the other day, low-key kind of bragged about how he endorsed Mitch McConnell. So it's kind of a back and forth relationship here. It's very weird, but Donald Trump is, in my opinion, clearly winning the civil war within the GOP that is essentially going on with the establishment side, with the more Mitch McConnells, who basically agree with all of Trump's agenda, but who kind of want to do it quietly and behind the scenes, whereas Trump is just this big, loudmouth personality that's going to go and say the quiet part out loud, and they don't like that. So that's basically the dynamic that has been going on between Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell recently. But Mitch McConnell has folded in every opportunity and in every way to Donald Trump. But the 79-year-old McConnell has held this Senate seat since 1985 and handedly won again against Amy McGrath last November. So here's the new legislation. The new legislation, Senate Bill 228, dubbed by some inside the state legislature as the Daniel Cameron election bill. So obviously people who are inside and have more knowledge of this from the inner workings think that this position is going to be filled by Daniel Cameron. Was filed on February 10th, 2021 during the Kentucky General Assembly's 30-day short session. The bill alters the current state statute that allows the governor to appoint a replacement in the event of a vacancy in the U.S. Senate. If the bill becomes law, the appointment to fill the vacancy will be selected from a list of 3 names submitted by the state executive committee of the same political party as the senator who held the vacant seat, so the Republican Party. According to the bill, the appointee from that list will then serve until a successor has been selected by the voters, and the legislation goes on to list instructions on when elections take place in the event of a vacancy. So, yeah, I mean, basically, it's Republicans forcefully taking power away from the Democratic governor who would usually have the ability to make this appointment. And, that's just the partisan politics that is classic Mitch McConnell that he would do, and just disregarding all norms in order to get his agenda passed and in order to make sure that they remain in control of this state. And so that's basically what they're going to be doing. It's going to be interesting how this plays out. Again, we don't even know if Mitch McConnell has a plan to retire. We don't know when this would take place. But the fact that they're doing this, the fact that they're taking these steps to prepare for that reality kind of says something that kind of indicates that there's something going on that we maybe don't know about. Maybe it's a health reason for Mitch McConnell, and he doesn't think that maybe he'll even survive the rest of his term. I don't know. Or maybe it's just them deciding that this is something they want to preemptively do if he decides that he wants to retire and run away from Trump, basically, and doesn't want to have to deal with this sort of new takeover of the Republican Party. And I mean, again, this is going to have massive ramifications for the Republican Party. I don't know who would be replacing him as the minority leader in the Senate. I'm guessing it would be it's hard to say as of right now, but maybe somebody like John Cornyn, or I've heard like John Thune's name thrown out there. So we'll have to see how this plays out. Again, just in the preliminary steps here of this information that's coming out. Good reporting from The Intercept, so all credit to them. But yeah, I mean, Mitch McConnell might not be serving out the rest of his term as the senator from Kentucky, and we'll have to see how this plays out. Maybe Daniel Cameron will be taking his place. Obviously, that name is famous to anybody who is keeping up with the story with Breonna Taylor and how he completely mishandled that entire situation and lied about some of the ways that he was handling it with the district attorney general office and stuff like that. So we'll see how this plays out. I'll keep you guys updated if it looks like Mitch McConnell is actually going to retire. But yeah, pretty interesting story developing here.